Hey everybody, today we're going to be reading chapter 1 of Joshua. And after I get done reading scripture, I'm going to explain what I think about it, how I feel about it. And I'm not an expert in scripture at all, so please do not lean on my understanding, but trust in the Lord for understanding and for guidance. And if I mispronounce any names, words, places, people, anything like that, I do apologize. And I'm reading from my Bible. It's the New Living Translation for those who want to follow along. And I do apologize for how loud my heat is. Hold on, let me turn it down a little bit. Okay, I turned it down a little bit, but yeah, it's like 17 degrees outside right now. And I'm in my car. I'm at Panera. And I'm trying to record this video and stuff before my interview. And then after my interview, I plan on going up to the hospital in order to do some practicum hours, some internship hours and stuff. So busy day today, but yeah, my bad about the heat being loud. I might have to turn it back up, all depending on how cold it get in here. My car is warmed up and everything, especially since I started driving, and I made it to my destination and stuff. But yeah, I might have to cut the heat back up, so my bad if it get too loud. But I'll try my best to speak loud so that way y'all can hear me. But anyway, let's get started. After the death of Moses, the Lord's servant, the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' assistant. He said, "Moses, my servant, is dead. Therefore, the time has come for you to lead these people, the Israelites, across the Jordan River into the land I am giving them. I promise you what I promised Moses. Wherever you set foot, you will be on land I have given you, from the Negev wilderness in the south to the Lebanon mountains in the north, from the Euphrates River in the east to the Mediterranean Sea in the west, including all the land of the Hittites. No one will be able to stand against you as long as you live, for I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Be strong and courageous, for you are the one who will lead these people to possess all the land I swore to their ancestors I would give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the instructions Moses gave you. Do not deviate from them, turning either to the right or to the left. Then you will be successful in everything you do. Study this book of instruction continually. Meditate on it day and night, so you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all you do. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Joshua then commanded the officers of Israel, Go through the camp and tell the people to get their provisions ready. In 3 days you will cross the Jordan River and take possession of the land the Lord your God is giving you. Then Joshua called together the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. He told them, "Remember what Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you. The Lord your God is giving you a place of rest. He has given you this land. Your wives, children, and livestock may remain here in the land Moses assigned to you on the east side of the Jordan River. But your strong warriors, fully armed, must lead the other tribes across the Jordan to help them conquer their territory. Stay with them until the Lord gives them rest, as he has given you rest, and until they too possess the land the Lord your God is giving them. Only then may you return and settle here on the east side of the Jordan River in the land. that Moses, the servant of the Lord, assigned to you?" They answered Joshua, "We will do whatever you command us, and we will go wherever you send us. We will obey you just as we obeyed Moses. And may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Anyone who rebels against your orders and does not obey your words and everything you command will be put to death. So be strong and courageous." Thus ends the reading of chapter 1 of Joshua. So I love the fact that Joshua, took charge and everything, after Moses' death. Because Moses literally had Joshua as his assistant for like a long time. It's a long time. But yeah, like basically Joshua learned alongside Moses. So it's like, Joshua was literally prepared to, to take on Moses' position by the time he passed. So it just reminds me of like how we be having mentors and stuff, people that we learn from. It's like on the job. It's like if you're the CEO of a company and you got like an assistant or whatever, it's like it's almost like they're learning under you, for future leadership and stuff. It's like you training the person that that's gonna take over. Or, if you a CEO and you got like a co-CEO or something like that, then that would be the person that would, that would take over, if something was to happen to you. It reminds me of like, the president and the vice president, that's the thing too. The pastor of the church and I don't even know who would necessarily be their assistant. I know there are other like I know that there is like the lead pastor, the main pastor, and then there are like other pastors, of the church. Like at 2819 church, at my church, the lead pastor is Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell, right? Because he the one that started, the church, the ministry and stuff like that. And now he has like, assistant pastors, he has other pastors there. Who preach, when he's not there. So I can imagine that if something was to happen, Lord forbid, but if something was to happen to, Philip Anthony Mitchell, then I can imagine probably one of them pastors would take over, and would be the lead pastor and would continue, that work. So, that's what that reminded me of. Moses and Joshua's relationship reminded me of that. Anyone who's in a leadership position and then anyone who is the assistant of that leader, or is the co-leader, like it's just like I remember in wolf packs, you got the alpha, the leader, and then you got the beta, which is like, the co-leader, like the second in command, you know what I'm saying? It's just like in a kingdom, you got the king and queen, and then you got the, royal advisor, or the heir to the throne, the heir to the throne, but still, like, normally I feel like, if for some reason, if something was to happen to your heirs, then you would end up, having the royal advisor who is like your second in command anyway, like you would have them, be your heir, like them inherit the throne, if something was to happen to you, because they already know how to rule the kingdom and stuff, and you trust them, because otherwise they wouldn't be, your second in command. So it makes sense. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. I love how they keep on reminding Joshua in here to be strong and courageous, because I don't know how young Joshua is. I don't know if they mentioned his age or anything, but all I do know is that he must be young. Or you know what? I just thought about something. Like, they telling him to be strong and courageous because, well, first of all, he just lost his mentor. So I know that, that probably, ate him up and stuff. And then, he now has to lead, and when you take on a new position and everything, even one that you've been preparing for, I mean, some people still feel nervous, whatever. So, they keep on telling him to be strong and stuff, you got this. And then to be courageous, like, be obedient, be, bold and courageous and stuff, like, do what you gotta do. And I just love the fact that they constantly remind him to be strong and courageous, because it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, I would feel some kind of way too, if all of a sudden I was supposed to lead, because something happened to my mentor or whatever, and all of a sudden I'm supposed to lead. I would feel some kind of way. So the whole be strong and courageous thing, I understand. I understand. They kept on telling him not to be afraid or discouraged, because the Lord our God, is with him wherever he go. I already know, because it's gonna be some things that the Lord probably asked of him to do that's probably gonna frighten him. Like, I mean, if I had to lead the people into a fight, with some giants or whatever, I'd be afraid too. But I feel some kind of fear or whatever, anxiousness or whatever. But if the Lord with us and he fighting with us, I mean, it is what it is. I'm trying to put my fear aside and stuff, because I know we humans and everything, we go through emotions and stuff, but it's like, if the Lord fighting for us, then we good. And then not to feel discouraged. I mean, when you leading people, especially when they want to be all rebellious and not listen to you and stuff, you do get discouraged. You feel like, why am I doing this? Like, why, like I don't even feel like doing this and everything, because y'all don't listen. I felt that way a lot. Like, growing up, like, people will always ask me for advice. And I gave good advice. I always did. I still do. I give good advice, but people won't take it. They won't take it. It's like they'll ask you for your opinion, because obviously they need help solving their problem or whatever, because they came and asked you your opinion. Or at least that's what I'm thinking. Why come ask me for my opinion if you don't need no help solving your problem, and you just gonna do whatever you want to do anyway? It's like, what's the point in wasting my time by asking me for my opinion? But anyway, like, you ask me for my advice because obviously you need help solving your problem, and I give you my advice. It makes sense to you. I know it makes sense. I know that I'm right, and you refuse to take my advice, and you end up doing what you want to do. I'll warn you, if you do what you want to do, it's not gonna work. But you end up doing what you want to do anyway, which they always do. And after they did what they was gonna do, they realized I was right. Even though, I mean, that's the reason why they came to me in the first place, because they knew I was gonna have the answers. But I digress. They knew I was right. I mean, they found out I was right, and then they come back to me, and then they be like, man, I should have listened to you. I be wanting to say, nah, duh. Like, for real. Like, why would you come to me, ask me for advice, and then not take it? And then I got to sit here and hear about how you should have took my advice. Like, I don't want to hear that, honestly. Like, well, I got tired of hearing that, honestly. Like, I don't hear it no more, because, people don't ask me for advice anymore. Thank you, Jesus. Well, I'm not supposed to in social work anyway, because, I'm going to school to be a social worker. Like, my job is to help you solve your problems by asking you questions, getting you thinking about, what it is, or how, you can, fix your situation. Because it's like, if I straight up just give you advice, like in a way, like, tell you what to do, and you do it, and it don't work out, then it's like, then it falls on me, because I'm the one that advised you to, do something, that didn't work. And so, it's like that could lead to consequences and stuff. But yeah, it's like, it's just annoying though, how like when people ask for your advice, they straight up don't take it. They don't take it, and then you gotta sit here and hear about how they messed up, how they should have took your advice and everything. It's just annoying. It just be annoying, because I be looking like, if you had took my advice in the first place, then this wouldn't have been happening, and you came to me asking me for advice because obviously you didn't know what you was gonna do, or whether or not your idea would be a good thing to do, and you just completely ignored the advice. Like, it's crazy. That's like you coming to someone asking for help. They offer you help and you don't take the help, and then you be like, I wish I had took the help. Like I don't want to hear that. Like, honestly, like it gets you discouraged basically, and it make you not want to give people advice no more, not want to help people out with their problems, because all y'all gonna do is just not take my advice in the first place. All y'all gonna do is just reject my help, reject my advice that you asked for. Like, it's like, what's the point? What's the point in helping if ain't nobody gonna accept the help? You might as well have just did what you was gonna do in the first place. Shoot. And without having to get my advice. But I understand though the whole discouraged thing. It's just like the Israelites though. Like, you ask for the Lord's help, to rescue you from Egypt. And literally the Lord rescues you from Egypt. And all he asks of you is to obey him, because he knows what's best for you, and stuff, because he's the Lord, he's God. And what do? You rebel against him. And then as soon as you end up in trouble, you want to be like, oh, we've sinned, like, please rescue us, and then you get rescued again, and then you just do the same thing over again. Like, it's annoying. It's annoying. And it's like, I don't like that about myself too, like whenever I fall and make mistakes, because I have a perfectionist problem. I like to be perfect, or at least try to be, and that's like a trauma thing from childhood, how they how parents be wanting the children to be perfect, just sit there and be quiet, be seen, not heard, that type of stuff, like, don't be jumping around, like, basically don't be a kid. Like, just sit there and not do anything and not cause any problems. Like, be good, like yeah, it's a trauma thing, but basically it's a childhood thing. But yeah, so I have a perfectionism problem, and where was I going with that? Dang it, I lost it. Hold on. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Yeah, I'm gonna find it. But yeah, like the Lord with the Israelites and everything, like, all the Lord wanted them to do was to be obedient and to do what it is they supposed, follow his instructions, because the Lord knows what's best for them. And the Israelites will rebel and not do that. It's like, I love being obedient to the Lord and everything, but when I fall and make mistakes and stuff, it bothers me. Like, it's like the thing that I'm complaining about the Israelites about, that they be doing, like, I don't like it when I do it myself. It's like anything that I complain about, it's like I don't like it in myself either, and I try and change. It's just annoying though that like people don't be wanting to change though. Like people straight up don't be wanting to change. Like, I don't understand my family sometimes. Like sometimes I be feeling like they don't want to change either. Like, they continue to do toxic, dysfunctional, abusive behavior, you know, and they, you know, admit that they're not going to change, you know, that they're going to continue to be who they are and everything, and they're not going to change, you know, for you. But at the same time, they want you to stay around, and they want you to do stuff for them, you know, as if they were this amazing, great dang person to you all their life. I mean all your life, you know, and they weren't. And they expect you to stay around and do all this stuff for them, and you know, and they have the nerve to like not care about nor help you when you need help. Like it's crazy. It's crazy, but like I just don't like the fact that like they do that stuff. They do messed up stuff. They won't change, but they expect you to continue to be there for them and be nice to them and do stuff, you know, for them in spite of, you know, their behavior. And I'm looking like, I'm not finna do that. Like, if you're gonna be messed up to me, then I'm just not gonna be there. You know, I'm not gonna do anything for you because, you know, you're messed up to me. And I don't have to maintain, you know, that relationship that we used to have, you know, simply because you're family. Like you can get cut off, you know, and not dealt with no more, even though you're family, because basically, like, people are supposed to be in your life for like a season. You know, some people are supposed to be in your life for a season, other people are supposed to be in your life for a lifetime, and you have to use discernment in order to figure out who those people are. You know, if you meet a person where, you know, they actually genuinely love you and care about you, and if they actually mess up and do something messed up to you and you bring it to their attention and they're actually genuinely apologetic about it and they actually change and make sure that they don't hurt you again, you know, you keep them people in your life, because them people are supposed to be there for a lifetime, you know. Or even if they supposed to be in your life for a season, still, you know, you still, you know, keep them around for as long as they supposed to be around, excuse me. But, you know, if they meant to be there for a lifetime, then you keep them, you know. But these people who be messed up to you and all the rest of this other stuff, you know, they don't want to change they messed up behavior, but just expect, you know, just entitled and just expect all good things from you, you know. Like, if they only meant to be in your life for a season, deal with them only for that time. And then when it's time to cut them off, when it's time for them to go, let them go. Like if someone cuts you off and everything, you're supposed to let them go. Like, let them go. Like, if someone don't want to be in your life anymore, you let them go. You don't go chasing after them, you know, trying to, you know, figure out why and all that, get closure and stuff. Just let them go. Like, the Lord literally had them leave out of your life, you know, quietly, you know, and without, you know, warning, or with warning, you know, like, for a reason. Like, some people just need to go. You know, sometimes they were the problem, sometimes you the problem, you know what I mean? You know, it all depends. But, like, not everybody's meant to be in your life forever. And I feel like if people realize that and just let people go, especially when they want to leave, then we'll all be okay. Then I feel like things would be better. But yeah, it's like with the Israelites, like God had to do that with the Israelites. Like the Israelites was rebelling and stuff like that. So the Lord literally, you know, let them get captured by their enemies. You know, let them, you know, be enslaved by their enemies and stuff. Because the Israelites that was not only rebelling and didn't want to do what the Lord told them to do anyway, but also they over here practicing idolatry and doing all of this other stuff. You know, just doing all of the sins up under the sun and everything. So the Lord was like, I ain't condoning that, you know. So, like, I don't like that. So the Israelites had to learn their lesson. So So he cut them off for a little minute. You know, they had to experience the consequences of their actions for a little minute. You know, but of course the Lord, the Lord came back and rescued them and all the rest of the other stuff, because he loved Israel. You know, he loved his people and everything. You know, he loved his children. But you know, we be disobedient sometimes, and we gotta be disciplined. You know, so you know, it happens. But yeah, it's like I got a perfectionism problem from childhood and stuff. And you know, it's like I think it's a problem sometimes because I be beating myself up when I make mistakes. But it's like I know that we're not perfect and everything, and because we're not perfect, you know, that means that we're gonna make mistakes. It even say in the Bible, you know, when we sin. So you know, it's like I shouldn't really be beating myself up. You know, I shouldn't be too hard on myself. I like the perfectionism thing only when it comes down to, like, you know, me being obedient and doing what the Lord tell me to do and stuff like that, because I want to make sure I do a wonderful job, you know, and that I do it to the best of my ability and stuff. But my perfectionism ways really ends up bothering me, you know, when I end up making a mistake, because I'm looking like I made a mistake, you know, I shouldn't have did that, you know, like, you know, just being hard on myself. So, you know, in one way, you know, it's not a bad thing, but then in another way, you know, it's like, you know, like you gotta be okay with the mistakes that you make, you know, especially since the majority of the time, you know, I'm not making mistakes. I'm, you know, doing the right thing and stuff. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I got from scripture, because the rest of it is just talking about it's just Joshua talking to the Israelites, you know, telling them that, you know, that you need to go into this land and conquer the enemies and stuff like that, so that way y'all can, you know, occupy the land, you know, and you know, and once you do that and everything, you'll be able to, you know, settle and live in the land in which the Lord is giving you. So, you know, that's pretty much it. But I like Joshua. I like how he took charge after Moses left, you know, after Moses passed away. And I don't know if I mentioned this or not in my previous video when we actually read about, you know, Moses' death and stuff, but I thought it was super cool that the Lord himself buried Moses. The Lord himself buried Moses' body, and nobody knows where the Lord buried his body. Like, how wonderful was Moses? Shoot. Like, that's so cool. The Lord himself buried his body. Hey, y'all know how, like, in the book of Revelation, I don't know if it's in the book of Revelation or not, but it's somewhere in the Bible, though, where it talk about these two people that's supposed to come back. They gonna be dressed in, I don't know what they're gonna be dressed in, linen, burlap, some like, you know, it's they gonna be dressed as if they was, you know, from back during that time period. I know that much. And like, they literally gonna be preaching and everything, you know, and they gonna get killed, and then their bodies is gonna be laying in the street or something like that for 3 days or something, and people gonna be mocking them or whatever, and like, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be televised, because everybody gonna see it, and then literally on the third day, it's like they gonna get resurrected, and then they gonna be then they gonna ascend into heaven on the clouds and stuff. And I think this is gonna be sort of like, it's either gonna be during the time where the mark of the beast is happening, or it's somewhere around in there. Like, I don't know. Like, don't quote me on it, because I'm going according to memory. But like, I I straight up think Moses might be one of them people. I think it's gonna be Moses. I think it's gonna be Moses and Elijah. What y'all think? Like, for real, I straight up think it's gonna be Moses and Elijah. Because first of all, Moses was personally buried by the Lord. So I mean, like, it's gotta be Moses. And then I wanna say it's Elijah, but then again, Elijah didn't die. He was taken up to heaven in a fiery chariot. Like, he didn't die. Just like Enoch didn't die, Elijah didn't die. So, like, I don't know. It's going to be one of them. Shoot, it's going to be one of them. I really do feel like them is some good candidates. I mean, we can guess all day, but, like, yeah, I think it's going to be one of them. I feel like they some good candidates, I don't know if I'm going to be alive during that time. I don't know, but I pray that if I'm not alive and everything, during that time, that I could at least, know eventually, like, okay. Like, if I'm not alive when all of this Revelation stuff happened, and when all this stuff in the book of Revelation happened and everything, and when all of the other stuff that they talk about in the New Testament and everything, if I'm not alive when all that come to pass, and when they talk about it in the Old Testament, honestly, because these prophets in the Old Testament, they be talking about the future a lot. But yeah, if I'm not alive when all that stuff happens, shoot, when I get to heaven, I'm going to want to see a movie. I need to see a movie. I need to see it all go down. Because now, if I'm in heaven already, and like, okay, like when I pass away and everything one day, and when I go to heaven, and I'm not alive when all this stuff happened, but I'm in heaven when all this happening, I want to see it all happen. I want not front row seats, but I want to see it. I want to experience it. I want to know who the Lord's sending, who the 2 men that the Lord's sending, like I would love to see that. But yeah, but if I am alive when it happened, like, I still want to see it. I would love to meet them, like in person, but if I can't, I at least want to see it. I want to see it, and I want to feel something. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna feel something. But yeah, like, I want to see that stuff. I really do. It's gonna be awesome. That Mark of the Beast stuff, though, I am not excited about that. I'm truly not. Don't take the Mark of the Beast, by the way, people. Don't do it. Don't do it. Remember that the Lord does provide. The Lord will provide. So if you don't take the Mark of the Beast, so what if you can't buy or sell nothing, with this government and all that? Like, don't nobody care. Like I'm still gonna eat. I'm still gonna drink. I'm still gonna have clothes. I'm still gonna have shelter. Like, the Lord gonna take care of me. Like, and if I am meant to go through some, persecution, or, go without that type of stuff or whatever, then so be it. I mean, so be it. But don't take the Mark of the Beast, y'all, for real. If y'all don't know what that is, let me see. Was it in Revelation? Like, that's the thing about the book of Revelation. I remember the 7 seals, the scrolls and the trumpets and all that. I know all of that is in the book of Revelation, but I just can't remember where the Mark of the Beast is talked about at. It's gotta be in there. 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 And if it's not, it's somewhere in the Bible. It's somewhere. I know it's in there. That's the thing about me. I can't tell you where it is in the Bible, but I know it's in there. It's like I read my Bible enough to know that the things that I talk about is in there. I just can't tell you where it is. I can't. But I feel like it might be in the book of Revelation. But I mean, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's fine. But yeah, I'm not gonna hold y'all no more. We've been talking for quite a bit, and I know I've been all over the place and everything, but I'm just saying whatever come to mind pretty much. And I pray it's I pray that what I talk about is in relation to what we read about. But yeah, the mark of the beast and all the rest of the other stuff, at the end of the day, just be obedient to the Lord. Like, a lot of this stuff, like, honestly, I feel like one of the big lessons from the Old Testament period is that you need to be obedient to the Lord. If you be obedient to the Lord, then you'll be good and you'll be blessed. But if you disobedient to the Lord, you're gonna get that discipline, or if you just straight up just rebellious and just wilding out, then you're gonna get punished. Like you just be obedient to the Lord. Like, I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's so worth it. Like with me, it's real easy to be obedient to the Lord when he asks me to do something for somebody else. And lately, honestly, like, if he asks me to do something for someone else and it's beneficial to to that someone else, to that other person, all depending on who that person is, I jump to freaking obey, honestly, in my opinion. Now, if it's a family member, all depending on who it is, I'm going to be a little hesitant about it because, like, I don't necessarily feel like doing anything else for my family because of all the stuff that I've been done already and how I was treated, when I did all that, So, but yeah, it's like, it's difficult sometimes being obedient to the Lord, all depending on what he asking you to do. Is what I'm trying to say. But you still gotta be obedient. It's like, whenever the Lord asks me to do something that's gonna benefit me, like when the Lord told me to leave my job, to leave Walmart, I knew that was beneficial towards me because it would show that I respect myself and I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna tolerate disrespect from no one, especially in the workplace. I go through enough of that with dealing with my own family, so I'm not finna accept that from other people, from strangers. So it's like I go through enough already at home. I don't need to be going through it at work. So, it's like when the Lord told me to leave Walmart, he was teaching me how I need to love myself. I need to respect myself. Leave a place when they're being disrespectful to you. Don't tolerate that disrespect and not show love to yourself just for a paycheck. Like, you need to leave so that way you can show them that you respect yourself enough, to leave and not tolerate this. And that even though you might need money, you'll be all right because, I'm not going to tolerate this. No amount of money is worth giving up your respect for yourself and even in your health, your health. Like, I had to also leave for my health. Like, they didn't care about the fact that I was late all the time because literally I would work myself so hard on my shifts, doing everybody work to the point where, I'm breaking my body down and my health is deteriorating. Like, that's the reason why I was late a lot. And, but they didn't care about that. They just cared about the fact that I was late a lot, and that I needed to stop that. But I'm looking like, how am I supposed to be on time and do everybody work, and do all of that over again while my health is deteriorating and stuff? It's like, it was just a messed up work environment. But either way though, like, I'm glad that I was obedient to the Lord. It was hard. Like, when the Lord first told me to leave, it took me 3 weeks. It took me 3 weeks to finally be like, okay, I'm leaving, because the Lord made it like so hard for me during them 3 weeks. And I asked him to, because I wanted to be obedient. So I was like, make it hard for me, if you got, if make it hard for me, like force me to leave. Shoot. So, because I want to be obedient, but I'm going to need some help. So he made it hard for me. And after them 3 weeks and everything, I was like, you know what, I'm leaving. So I put in my 2 weeks. I did that. It was really difficult to do them 2 weeks. It was really difficult to do them 2 weeks. But I pushed through and I did it. And I left. And it was great. It felt so good. It felt so good waking up the next day and not having to go to work and not having to go to Walmart. It felt wonderful. And it felt wonderful because I did what was best for me. I did what was best for me and my health, and I loved myself and I respected myself by leaving. And I obeyed the Lord. And it felt good. So, like, I love being obedient to the Lord. That was something difficult for me. It was, because I'm the type of person where I probably would have stuck it out for that paycheck because I got bills to pay and stuff, but like, I don't know, it probably would have got so bad to the point where I would have still left, at some point, or maybe like moved to another department or something. But the department that I was in, I seriously doubt that they would have let me go, because they needed help so badly in that department. Like, they wouldn't have, I don't think they would have let me go. So, the only thing I could have did was, was leave like I did, And then with Walmart, after you've been gone for like 6 months, like after you quit, and you've been gone for like 6 months, then you can come back, and work for them. Like, you could reapply, you could apply to work for them, again, and they'll hire you back. I mean, it's not a guaranteed hire back, but you can work for them again, Like, if you just quit and then you only been gone for a month and then you try and come back, they're gonna be like, nah, can't do that. So, but yeah, just an obedience story, a testimony, about how, it's good to be obedient and everything. And the Lord has been providing for me since I've left, He always makes sure that I have enough in order to pay my bills and everything. So, like, I'm good. I'm good. But I got this interview that I gotta do though. So, I will talk to you guys later. And we finished scripture anyway. So, I was just giving an obedience story because pretty much, again, like a lot of these chapters in the Old Testament remind me of obedience. So, the importance of being obedient to the Lord. And I feel like, you know what? We need that as humans. We need that driven into our brains 1,000 times over. We need to be talking to like we children, because we be hard-headed and don't want to listen. We need to be obedient. If we be obedient, then we'll be all right. Like, I don't care that be the lesson of a lot of these chapters. Shoot, we need a whole bunch of examples of why being obedient to the Lord is important, and how if you be obedient you get blessed, and how if you be disobedient you go through problems. Like, we need that. So thank you guys so much for listening. I love you, Jesus loves you, and have a blessed day. Bye.